Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today is an absolutely beautiful day to sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and unpack the absolute chaos that is unfolding in our favorite gated community. We have so much to talk about, and honestly, it's my mind has been racing with all these new developments. I can't help but feel like we are watching a slow motion train wreck when it comes to Andre and his current predicament. Ever since Heather made that terrifying appearance at the DMV, Andre has been spiraling into a corner that is getting tighter by the second. He has been forced to lie to Danny about his entire relationship with Heather. And what makes this so incredibly dark is that Heather isn't just lurking in the shadows anymore. She is actively and quite brilliantly inserting herself into Danny's life. Heather is taking the initiative to approach Danny, playing the role of a friendly acquaintance, and step by step, she is building a foundation of trust with the woman whose husband she is simultaneously blackmailing. It is a psychological masterclass in manipulation, and Andre is completely paralyzed by it. He knows that one wrong move, one slip of the tongue, and Heather will detonate his entire marriage. In this suffocating situation, Andre has realized he cannot carry this burden alone. He needs a vault. He needs someone who understands the weight of a destructive secret, and that is exactly why he turns to Ted. If you ask me, this makes perfect sense on paper. Andre knows his uncle is exceptionally good at keeping his mouth shut. Ted is the family patriarch figure now, the guy who projects this aura of stability and loyalty. Andre firmly believes that Ted would never easily betray his own blood. So, all these dark, twisted truths about Europe, the champagne, the blackmail, and that incriminating photo, everything that Andre cannot possibly breathe a word of to Danny is now being unceremoniously dumped onto Ted's shoulders. Ted is inheriting a ticking time bomb, and he is doing it out of love for his nephew. But maybe I'm overthinking this, but something about this doesn't sit right with me at all. I keep coming back to this idea that Ted is the absolute worst person to handle this precisely because of his own history. Ted has a PhD in hiding toxic secrets. Let's not forget that this is the same man who carried on a clandestine, deeply passionate affair with Leslie for over 2 decades. He hid that massive betrayal from Nicole for years, compartmentalizing his life in a way that eventually destroyed his marriage anyway. Ted knows firsthand that buried secrets don't just stay buried, they rot the foundation of the house until the whole thing collapses. And yet, here he is, stepping right back into that familiar role of the silent protector. The truth might be more complicated than it looks, but I genuinely fear that Ted's instinct to protect Andre is going to lead him to make the exact same mistakes he made in his own past. By keeping quiet to protect the person he loves, Ted is inadvertently enabling the very situation that could destroy Andre's life. What if Ted decides to take matters into his own hands? What if Ted tries to confront Heather himself to protect his nephew? That would be a catastrophic miscalculation, considering Heather is a ruthless international crime boss. While the men are drowning in their secrets, the women are gearing up for a completely different kind of war. After a relatively peaceful period, the relationship between Nicole and Kat is showing serious fractures. It seems that the honeymoon phase of their mother-daughter bonding is officially over. Remember when Kat was agonizing over whether to donate a piece of her liver to save Eva? Nicole was her rock. She offered unconditional, non-judgmental support during one of the most terrifying moments of Kat's life. But that deep empathy and shared trauma might not be enough to prevent this impending explosion between them. There's a chance that this new conflict is rooted in the business side of things, specifically regarding the new handbag line Kat and Chelsea are launching. They want to name the bag the Nikki, and we already know Anita had strong reservations about that name due to some bad vibes associated with Leslie. Nicole might be projecting her own unresolved issues onto this business decision. But honestly, I might be wrong, but I think this is about much more than a purse. Kat has been exhibiting wildly erratic behavior ever since she woke up from that surgery. The out of body experience, the impulsive purchase of a luxury condo, the public rejection of a marriage proposal. Kat is a runaway train right now. Nicole, being the protective mother who has already lost so much in her life, is likely watching her daughter spin out of control and is trying to hit the brakes. The problem is, Kat doesn't want to be saved, and she certainly doesn't want to be managed. This clash is inevitable, and it is going to be incredibly painful because they know exactly which buttons to push to hurt each other the most. And while Kat is fiercely battling her own mother, she is completely oblivious to the fact that her relationship is crumbling behind her back. Tomas is slipping away, and Kat is too consumed by her own chaos to even notice. Which brings us to the massive power shift happening over at the law firm. Bill has been going through absolute hell with his health between the heart attacks, the pacemaker surgery, and the constant physical weakness, which we all know is actually the result of Haley slowly poisoning him. Bill is having a profound mortality crisis. He is being forced to look at his legacy, his firm, and his future in a way he never has before. During this entire crisis, Naomi has been the glue holding his professional life together. She stepped up, managed the chaos, and proved her competence in a way that Bill simply cannot ignore. So Bill makes a move that changes everything. He presents Naomi with a monumental choice. Now, Naomi has repeatedly stated that she has no desire to join Bill's firm permanently. She has her own path, but Bill is a master manipulator and a brilliant negotiator. His recent reliance on her, combined with his vulnerable state, might just be enough to wear down her defenses. It seems that Bill is offering her a permanent high-level position or perhaps even a full-blown merger of their practices. He wants her locked in. He trusts her deeply, which is a rare thing for a man like Bill. But if you ask me, the real story here isn't just about Naomi's career advancement. It's about the collateral damage, and that damage is named Tomas. Tomas has busted his back trying to be Bill's right-hand man. He has tolerated Bill's ego, navigated the firm's politics, and desperately sought validation. Recently, Bill fiercely reprimanded Tomas for entertaining a settlement offer without consulting Naomi first, essentially putting Tomas in his place and elevating Naomi above him. Tomas's ego is already shattered into a million pieces. Kat rejected his public proposal. She refused to let him move into her new condo as an equal partner, and now his boss is effectively replacing him with the very woman he has been clashing with. Tomas feels completely emasculated, threatened, and isolated. When a man like Tomas feels cornered and unappreciated, he looks for an outlet. He needs someone to validate him, someone to listen to him. And instead of trying to break through Kat's walls, Tomas makes a highly controversial choice. He turns to Eva. I can't help but feel like this is a disaster waiting to happen. Tomas and Eva share a very complicated, messy history. She is one of the few people he feels he can truly be vulnerable with, but let's not forget the family dynamics at play here. Eva is Kat's half-sister. Eva has spent months battling her own demons, dealing with severe body dysmorphia and trauma from her liver transplant. She previously tried to set firm boundaries with Tomas, knowing how toxic their dynamic could be. But with her mother Leslie's love life in shambles and her own insecurities flaring up, Eva might find a strange comfort in being the person Tomas desperately needs. As Tomas pours his heart out to Ava about his career falling apart and his relationship with Kat turning to ice, boundaries are going to blur. And the tragic irony is that while Kat is aggressively fighting Nicole over a handbag name, her boyfriend is seeking emotional intimacy with her sister. Meanwhile, Ava's boyfriend, Isaiah, is fighting his own silent battles. Isaiah has been carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He has been trying to be the perfect, supportive partner to Eva through her medical trauma, while simultaneously navigating his own dark past. He recently opened up about his history of jacking cars with his friend Des and how Joey was the one who saved him from ending up in a prison cell. That is a heavy debt to carry. On top of that, he is trying to mend a deeply fractured relationship with his father, Elon. Isaiah is overwhelmed and he needs a sounding board. So Isaiah turns to Jacob. This is a fascinating dynamic. Jacob is the seasoned undercover cop, a man who has seen the darkest parts of the criminal underworld and is currently obsessed with taking down the Impaler. Jacob understands the complexities of the law, the gray areas of morality, and the heavy burden of family expectations. Isaiah likely confides in Jacob about his struggles with Eva's insecurities, his complicated feelings of loyalty toward a criminal like Joey, and the daunting task of reconciling with Elon. Jacob is in a unique position to offer Isaiah the kind of grounded, pragmatic advice that he desperately needs. But I keep coming back to this idea that Jacob's own obsession with the plasma ring might cloud his judgment. What if Jacob inadvertently uses the information Isaiah shares about Joey to further his own investigation? The lines between mentorship and manipulation are very thin in this town. Everything is connecting in the most dangerous ways possible. A seemingly normal day at the DMV has set off a chain reaction that is going to tear these families apart. Bill is forcing Naomi into a corner that will inevitably push Tomas over the edge. Tomas's bruised ego is driving him straight into Eva's orbit, creating a betrayal that Kat won't see coming because she is too busy warring with Nicole. Isaiah is seeking guidance from a man who is hunting the very people Isaiah feels indebted to. But at the absolute center of this impending explosion is Ted and Andre. Ted is holding a secret that has the power to destroy multiple lives. If Heather decides to accelerate her timeline with Danny, Ted is going to have to make a choice. Does he continue to hide in the shadows, repeating the sins of his past by keeping his mouth shut to protect the illusion of a happy family? Or does he finally realize that his silence is the most dangerous weapon of all? I might be wrong, but I have a sinking feeling that Ted's attempt to be the savior is going to be the exact thing that burns Andre's life to the ground. The truth is clawing its way to the surface. And when it finally breaks free, no one in this town is going to be safe from the fallout.